The stars were quiet, impossibly quiet. For centuries, explorers and observers had drifted through sectors of space where no signal had ever returned, where no light blinked from distant colonies, and where entire star systems seemed abandoned. Humanity, along with other civilizations, had come to regard these regions as the silent stars, a place of mystery, danger, and forgotten history. Yet now, whispers had begun to circulate across interstellar networks. Something was moving within the silence, something deliberate, calculated, and unstoppable. The first signs were subtle. Unexplained gravitational fluctuations, faint energy pulses, and anomalies in navigation systems. Fleets passing near these sectors reported fleeting shadows. Brief sensor blips, and signals that appeared intelligent but defied any known code. Scientists struggled to understand the patterns. Astronomers debated whether they were natural phenomena or a new form of life. But the truth was far more terrifying: the silent stars were not empty. They were occupied by invaders, an ancient, alien species that had remained hidden for millennia, striking only when conditions were perfect. The invaders were unlike any known civilization. Their ships were organic and mechanical at once, bioconstructs that could adapt, regenerate, and camouflage themselves against the backdrop of space. Entire fleets could vanish in the blink of an eye, reappearing light years away. Their strategies were not dictated by logic alone, they seemed to anticipate thought, predicting moves before fleets had even executed them. Military councils across multiple civilizations debated what they had witnessed, struggling to comprehend a species that could operate both with intelligence and instinct, a predator that viewed space as its domain and all other life as prey. Initial encounters were devastating. Scouting vessels disappeared without trace, planetary outposts were obliterated in coordinated strikes, and entire colonies lost communication simultaneously. The attacks were not chaotic, they were precise, surgical, and terrifyingly efficient. Humanity, along with allied civilizations, realized the silent stars were not just inhabited, they were a fortress and a hunting ground, and the invaders had been waiting, patient, for centuries, studying the galaxy in silence before launching their campaign. Humanity's response was immediate but cautious. Fleets were redeployed to create defensive perimeters, automated systems were enhanced, and scientists pored over the anomalies for any clue of invader weaknesses. Explorers analyzed remnants of destroyed ships, hoping to discern technology or tactics. Reports indicated that the invaders had no recognizable culture or negotiation protocol. They communicated only through action, interpreting resistance as an invitation to destroy. Diplomacy, reasoning, and conventional warfare were ineffective. The galaxy faced a predator that transcended known rules. As attacks escalated, the invaders demonstrated more than just brute force, they displayed strategy on a grand scale. Multiple star systems were targeted simultaneously, forcing fleets to divide attention. Supply chains were disrupted with precision, leaving colonies isolated and vulnerable. Entire sectors became ghostly voids, silent as if the stars themselves mourned the loss. Scientists studying the attacks realized that the invaders had not only mastered technology, they had mastered prediction, learning and adapting in real time with an intelligence that was both alien and terrifyingly efficient. Amid the fear and chaos, humanity attempted unconventional strategies. Reconnaissance fleets, paired with stealth drones and experimental AI, ventured deeper into the silent stars to study the invaders. They discovered that the invaders operated on a hive-like structure, with a central consciousness coordinating the fleets and a network of autonomous subunits executing complex tasks. Attack patterns revealed a frightening efficiency. They could simulate entire battle scenarios in real time, adjusting for every conceivable tactic of their opponents. No fleet had ever faced an enemy that could think faster than the pilots themselves. Human engineers devised countermeasures, combining speed, unpredictability, and adaptive technology to match the invaders' patterns. Fleet captains implemented unorthodox formations, deliberately breaking traditional tactics to create confusion. Scientists experimented with communication jamming, biosignature masking, and energy pulse distortion, seeking any vulnerability. Yet for every advantage humans discovered, the invaders adapted, demonstrating a near-prescient ability to anticipate and neutralize threats. Alliances across species began to form as desperation grew. Fleets from multiple civilizations coordinated, sharing knowledge, technology, and strategies. The silent stars became a crucible of interstellar collaboration, a test not only of strength but of ingenuity, unity, and courage. Scientists and commanders realized that survival depended not on conventional power, but on adaptation, resilience, and the willingness to embrace unpredictability. Humanity emerged as a central figure in this coalition, contributing flexible tactics, experimental technologies, and unorthodox strategies that slowed the invaders' advance. As the first major battle in the Silent Stars reached its apex, fleets clashed near the remnants of a collapsed star system. Explosions illuminated the void in streaks of energy, while autonomous invader units darted with impossible speed, weaving between debris and attacking from angles no human or alien had anticipated. Adaptive shields pulsed. Fleets executed intricate maneuvers, and AI-assisted strategies attempted to match the invaders' relentless intelligence. The outcome was uncertain, the stakes absolute. The Silent Stars could either remain a graveyard or become the proving ground for survival and defiance. Even as losses mounted, the coalition endured. Humanity's influence reshaped the battle, teaching fleets to think in unpredictable ways, to use deception, to exploit tiny weaknesses, and to coordinate across vast distances with unprecedented precision. The Silent Stars, once thought a void, became the proving ground where the galaxy learned that intelligence, collaboration, and adaptability could challenge even the most ancient and lethal of invaders. The story of the invaders had only begun, but the galaxy had already changed. Where once the stars were silent, now they whispered with strategy, courage, and the determination of civilizations unwilling to surrender. The invaders were formidable, relentless, and terrifying, but the combined ingenuity of life across the stars had awakened, prepared to meet the silent threat with all the resilience, creativity, and determination that had defined them for millennia. Humanity's name and influence were central in this fight, a spark of hope in a cosmos that had grown dark and dangerous. The Silent Stars had revealed themselves not as empty voids but as hunting grounds, and the galaxy was beginning to feel the full weight of the invaders' presence. Initial skirmishes had been devastating, but now humanity and allied civilizations understood that survival required more than conventional tactics. Fleets were reorganized, experimental technology rushed into production, and strategy councils convened across light years, sharing insights, simulations, and predictions in real time. The invaders, still largely mysterious, demonstrated an intelligence that rivaled the combined capabilities of entire fleets. Each attack was coordinated with impeccable precision, exploiting weaknesses that no commander had foreseen. Planets lost communication before fleets could even arrive. Autonomous invader units could dismantle orbital defenses in moments, leaving only silent, burning shells. Analysts quickly realized that these invaders did not simply destroy, they calculated, adapted, and learned. Every encounter was a lesson they absorbed, and the galaxy was paying the price. Humanity led daring reconnaissance missions deep into the Silent Stars, sending small fleets and stealth drones into sectors no other civilization dared approach. The purpose was not to fight directly, but to study. Sensor arrays gathered immense amounts of data, energy signatures, movement patterns, structural compositions, and communication anomalies. Scientists discovered that invader fleets were biologically integrated with their ships. Hulls could self-repair. Energy shields regenerated autonomously, and weapon systems adapted to counter specific attack patterns. Each fleet seemed to operate like a living organism, responsive and highly intelligent, making conventional strategy nearly useless. In response, humanity developed radical tactics. Fleets were divided into unpredictable formations, deliberately breaking standard protocols to confuse invaders. AI systems were programmed to simulate human intuition and creativity, attempting to introduce randomness into predictions that the invaders relied upon. Engineers experimented with energy resonance disruption, attempting to interfere with the invaders' communication networks, while biologists studied how their ships functioned as living systems. Each breakthrough gave humanity and its allies hope, though at a high cost. Losses were inevitable, but every encounter provided data for the next engagement. As the conflict escalated, the Silent Stars became a theater of both warfare and ingenuity. Strategic points, dying stars, asteroid fields, and black hole systems were utilized as defensive strongholds, their unique physics exploited to counter the invaders' mobility. Fleets executed maneuvers that leveraged gravitational anomalies, energy vortices, and sensor-dead zones. The battle evolved beyond simple offense and defense. It became a contest of intellect, strategy, and adaptability. Every commander understood that survival depended not on firepower alone, but on creativity and unity. Alien civilizations outside humanity's immediate sphere began to respond. Some sought to observe, others to participate, and a few attempted to exploit the chaos for territorial expansion. Humanity's influence grew as coalition leaders recognized the unique advantage of human adaptability and tactical ingenuity. Pilots and fleet captains began integrating experimental techniques into their operations, combining instinct with AI predictions to anticipate invader movements. The Silent Stars were no longer merely a threat, they were a proving ground, shaping fleets, societies, and strategies across galaxies. Even amid victories, the cost was staggering. Entire colonies were abandoned, fleets reduced to skeleton crews, and communication networks stretched to the limit. Yet the data collected from each encounter provided invaluable insight. Patterns began to emerge. The invaders responded predictably to certain types of unpredictability. They could be temporarily isolated, and their central hive systems were vulnerable to coordinated attacks. Humanity and its allies learned not only to fight but to exploit the very intelligence that made the invaders so terrifying. In one pivotal engagement, a coalition fleet lured a significant invader strike force into a region of dense asteroid fields. The invaders adapted slowly, miscalculating gravitational distortions while human pilots, exploiting the chaos, delivered precise strikes that disabled several key units. Though many ships were lost, the operation demonstrated that the Silent Stars were not unconquerable. The invaders, while adaptive, could be tested, probed, and countered if fleets approached with creativity, coordination, and risk. By the end of this stage, the galaxy understood that the Silent Stars were more than a region, they were a crucible. Here, civilizations faced a species whose intelligence and adaptability challenged every assumption. Humanity had become a central figure in the struggle, guiding fleets with intuition, experimental technology, and unorthodox tactics. The invaders remained formidable, relentless, and ever adapting, but the first glimmers of hope had emerged. Survival, the galaxy realized, depended on daring, innovation, and the willingness to confront the unknown with courage and unity. The Silent Stars, once quiet, had become a proving ground. And within its depths, the invaders waited, patient, intelligent, and unknowable, while humanity and its allies prepared for the battles that would decide the fate of entire galaxies. The Silent Stars had become a battlefield of intellect, courage, and survival. The invaders' relentless precision had forced humanity and allied civilizations to evolve rapidly. Entire fleets were now equipped with experimental technologies, stealth modules that bent light around ships, adaptive energy shields that learned from every strike, and AI-driven systems capable of predicting invader maneuvers through simulation and probabilistic reasoning. Every engagement became a high-stakes contest, not just of firepower, but of creativity and foresight. The invaders themselves revealed unsettling levels of strategic adaptability. Fleet movements were fluid, often splitting and merging in ways that defied conventional tactics. Attacks were coordinated across vast distances, with one strike acting as a feint while another targeted a previously undetected vulnerability. Commanders quickly realized that these were not mere machines or armies, they operated as a collective intelligence, able to assess threats in real time and respond with foresight that mirrored instinct. Every battle tested the limits of human and alien ingenuity alike. Humanity spearheaded daring reconnaissance missions deeper into the Silent Stars, deploying specialized teams aboard small, highly maneuverable vessels. These teams mapped invader territory, identified weak points, and observed hive-like command structures that coordinated fleets across light years. Engineers and biologists studied the invaders' organic mechanical vessels, discovering regenerative systems and adaptive weaponry that could anticipate attack vectors. It became clear that conventional fleet engagement would be insufficient. The galaxy needed tactics that leveraged unpredictability, deception, and rapid improvisation. In response, coalition forces developed unprecedented strategies. Fleets were deliberately fragmented and then recombined, forcing the invaders to overextend their predictive abilities. Decoy ships carried false energy signatures to mislead the enemy, while autonomous drones disrupted communication channels between invader units. Scientists created temporary blind zones using distorted energy fields, allowing strike teams to bypass defensive perimeters undetected. The battle evolved into a deadly chess match, with the silent stars serving as the board and every fleet maneuver carrying the weight of civilization's survival. Amid these operations, humanity's leadership became indispensable. Pilots, strategists, and scientists coordinated across sectors with near-perfect synchronicity, combining intuition, experience, and AI simulation. Alien allies adapted human-inspired techniques, incorporating them into their own fleet doctrines. The coalition began to recognize a key truth: the invaders' adaptability, while formidable, could be countered with unpredictability and moral ingenuity. By thinking outside conventional paradigms, fleets could exploit weaknesses in the invaders' hive-like coordination. One of the most critical engagements occurred near a binary star system surrounded by dense asteroid belts. The coalition lured a major invader fleet into the gravitational hazards, using decoys and false energy emissions. As the invaders maneuvered, human strike teams executed precision attacks, disabling several flagship units while avoiding detection. Adaptive shields absorbed energy pulses and redirected them strategically, creating openings for allied fire. The invaders adapted slowly, but the complexity and chaos introduced by human tactics slowed their advance significantly. For the first time, a coordinated human-alien fleet had inflicted measurable losses on the invaders without catastrophic casualties. Even as victories were achieved, the cost was immense. Entire colonies were abandoned. Fleets suffered significant losses, and supply lines were stretched to the breaking point. Scientists worked tirelessly to repair damaged ships, recalibrate energy shields, and refine predictive AI algorithms. Every success was measured against tremendous sacrifice, yet each small victory provided critical insight into the invaders' operational patterns. Humanity's willingness to experiment, to take calculated risks, and to innovate under pressure became the linchpin of the coalition's survival. The silent stars, once thought an unbreachable void, had become the ultimate testing ground for interstellar strategy and cooperation. Fleets moved with a combination of precision and improvisation, blending human creativity with alien technological strengths. Commanders learned to anticipate not only the invaders' moves but also how the invaders would react to unpredictability itself. This evolution in warfare reshaped alliances, strengthened bonds between species, and elevated humanity's role from participant to central strategist. By the end of this stage, the galaxy had begun to understand a profound truth: the invaders were not omnipotent. Their intelligence was vast, but not infallible. Through ingenuity, collaboration, and adaptability, even a species thought extinct could guide civilizations to confront and challenge the most ancient and formidable threats. Humanity's influence extended far beyond the reach of its fleets, shaping the very strategies, doctrines, and philosophies that now define the coalition's response to the silent stars. The battle was far from over. The invaders remained relentless, adaptive, and terrifying, but for the first time, hope emerged. The galaxy had learned that survival in the silent stars depended not on force alone, but on creativity, unity, and the courage to confront the unknown with both intellect and audacity. Humanity's name, once whispered across isolated sectors, now resonated as a symbol of strategy, resilience, and the potential to turn even extinction into guidance for the cosmos. The silent stars had transformed into the ultimate proving ground for civilizations across the galaxy. What was once a place of eerie emptiness was now a theater of intelligence, strategy, and relentless conflict. The invaders, whose presence had been silent and inscrutable for millennia, had begun to reveal their full might. Entire star systems flickered with destruction as fleets clashed in the void, massive energy pulses cutting through asteroid belts and leaving trails of ionized debris that glimmered like ghostly comets. The coalition of civilizations, guided by humanity's ingenuity, had grown stronger and more sophisticated. Fleet coordination had evolved into a near-perfect symphony. Strike teams maneuvered in unpredictable patterns, adaptive shields responded dynamically to incoming fire. And AI systems analyzed invader movements in real time, feeding predictions back to commanders. Human tacticians devised strategies that leveraged deception, gravity anomalies, and even the environmental hazards of the silent stars themselves. Asteroids became both shields and weapons, pulsars and dying suns became strategic choke points, and fleets learned to fight not only against the enemy, but against the vast and hostile cosmos itself. The invaders, however, had not remained idle. They adapted quickly, exhibiting a frightening capacity to learn and predict. Fleets seemed to anticipate coalition strategies, countering feints, adjusting formations in real time, and deploying specialized units that could neutralize human-inspired tactics. It became increasingly clear that the invaders operated as a vast neural network, with each vessel and autonomous unit contributing to a collective intelligence capable of near-instantaneous calculation. The silent stars themselves appeared alive to them, mapped and understood in ways no coalition fleet could initially fathom. The first large-scale confrontation in this phase occurred in the remnants of a collapsed star system, where debris and radiation hazards created a natural labyrinth. Coalition commanders, blending human intuition with AI-assisted predictions, lured an invader strike force into the maze. Energy pulses bounced unpredictably off asteroid surfaces, cloaked ships darted through gravitational wells, and decoy fleets created false battlefronts. The invaders, momentarily disoriented by the chaos, suffered critical losses, proving that even their adaptive intelligence had limits when confronted with ingenuity, unpredictability, and coordinated creativity, yet victory came at a cost. Entire fleets were expended in controlled sacrifices to divert invader attention, and colonies on the edge of the silent stars suffered bombardment from long-range invader units. Scientists worked tirelessly, repairing hulls, recalibrating shields, and expanding predictive algorithms to account for the invaders' rapid adaptation. Engineers introduced experimental energy pulses capable of temporarily scrambling invader coordination, giving coalition fleets a precious edge, while biologists studied the organic components of invader vessels to identify further vulnerabilities. Every battle was simultaneously destructive and enlightening, a brutal classroom where the coalition learned the language of the silent stars. Meanwhile, alien civilizations outside humanity's immediate sphere began to respond in unprecedented ways. Some, previously neutral, committed fleets and resources to support the coalition. Others, more opportunistic, attempted to intercept or exploit weakened systems but found themselves confronted with the precision and creativity of human-inspired tactics. Across sectors, humanity's influence grew. As alien commanders began to integrate experimental strategies, moral reasoning, and rapid improvisation into fleet doctrine. The silent stars had become a laboratory of interstellar cooperation, adaptation, and moral testing, where the galaxy's survival depended on creativity as much as strength. Amid these escalating confrontations, coalition strategists devised the first truly coordinated offensive. Multiple fleets converged on a central invader hive system, a cluster of massive organic mechanical structures that served as command hubs for the enemy. Human-designed decoys and autonomous drones manipulated invader responses, creating openings in the hive's defenses. Strike teams executed surgical attacks, exploiting microflaws in vessel regeneration cycles, and communication disruption pulses temporarily disoriented the invaders' collective intelligence. The battle was brutal, energy flares illuminating the void as fleets collided, but for the first time, the coalition inflicted decisive damage on the heart of the invader network. The psychological impact was equally profound. Across the galaxy, the invaders' aura of invincibility began to falter. Fleets that once trembled at their presence gained confidence, scientists refined their understanding of invader biology and mechanics, and commanders learned to trust human-inspired unpredictability. The silent stars, once considered an insurmountable threat, now seemed to offer a glimmer of possibility. Through ingenuity, adaptation, and collaboration, even the deadliest predator in the galaxy could be challenged, yet the conflict was far from over. The invaders, adaptive and relentless, had demonstrated time and again that they could recover, evolve, and retaliate in ways that no single civilization could anticipate. The silent stars had become a crucible not only for survival, but for the evolution of strategy, morality, and cooperation on a galactic scale. Humanity, though physically absent from the front lines in some theaters, remained the guiding influence, teaching fleets to think beyond conventional rules, to innovate in real time, and to embrace the unknown with courage. By the end of this stage, the galaxy had irrevocably changed. Where once the silent stars were feared as empty voids, they now pulsed with activity, intelligence, and hope. Fleets moved with unprecedented coordination, strategies evolved in real time, and humanity's influence permeated every maneuver, every decision, and every life aboard these vessels. The invaders remained a terrifying and adaptive threat, but the coalition had grown stronger, wiser, and more unpredictable. The silent stars were no longer merely a hunting ground, they were a proving ground, and the galaxy had begun to learn the lessons of survival, ingenuity, and resilience that only the invaders could inspire. The silent stars had become the epicenter of galactic strategy, innovation, and desperation. The coalition, humanity and allied civilizations, had learned to anticipate and adapt to the invaders' terrifying intelligence, yet each step forward revealed the enemy's relentless evolution. Every battle was no longer a mere contest of firepower, it was a test of creativity, coordination, and the ability to think beyond conventional tactics. The invaders' hive-mind approach had made them formidable, but humanity's unorthodox strategies and rapid adaptability had begun to level the playing field. The next stage of the campaign involved a bold operation. The coalition sought to penetrate deeper into the silent stars, targeting a massive invader hub system hidden within a dense nebula. The hub, a cluster of organic mechanical structures larger than small planets, coordinated fleets, repaired damaged units, and propagated adaptive strategies across the silent stars. Capturing or disabling it could cripple invader operations for decades, but the risks were enormous. Fleets had to navigate unpredictable magnetic storms, dense asteroid fields, and zones of warped spacetime, all while avoiding detection from the invaders' near-omniscient sensors. Humanity devised the operational plan. Stealth fleets, cloaked with experimental light-bending technology, would approach along false vectors, drawing invader forces into decoy engagements. Meanwhile, human-engineered drones emitted disruptive energy pulses designed to scramble the hive's communication network temporarily. Strike teams, composed of human and alien pilots, would infiltrate the hub's outer defenses, planting energy destabilizers and analyzing structural weak points. Every step required precision, improvisation, and absolute trust in unpredictability, the very element that had confounded the invaders at previous encounters. The initial phase unfolded with tense brilliance. Fleets maneuvered through asteroid belts, energy pulses lighting the void as drones disrupted invader signals. Cloaked vessels darted silently, and for hours, it seemed the invaders had detected nothing. Then, the hub reacted. Units emerged from warped shadows, adaptive weapons flaring, and entire formations shifted in a fluid, almost organic pattern. The coalition responded with real-time improvisation, employing feints, gravitational traps, and coordinated countermeasures to offset the invaders' adaptive response. The battle became a breathtaking dance of intelligence and instinct, with every move countered, predicted, and recalibrated. Inside the hub system, strike teams faced the most harrowing challenges. Organic mechanical structures reacted to their presence, sealing corridors, shifting internal layouts, and deploying autonomous defense units with lethal precision. Pilots had to combine spatial reasoning, ethical judgment, and intuition to navigate the hub's deadly interior. Engineers aboard their ships analyzed structural feedback, sending instructions to drones that manipulated internal systems, while biologists studied the invader organic components, searching for vulnerabilities that could be exploited in real time. Every decision carried the weight of the coalition's survival. As the battle intensified, the invaders adapted again, deploying fleets in unpredictable patterns and using previously unseen energy weapons capable of temporarily disabling fleet-wide sensors. Coalition forces were pushed to the brink, but humanity's influence remained central. By introducing intentional unpredictability into fleet formations, exploiting environmental hazards, and employing autonomous AI-driven strategies, the coalition began to gain ground. Strike teams successfully planted destabilizers in critical nodes of the hub, causing temporary malfunctions that disrupted the hive's coordination. For the first time, the invaders' intelligence faltered, if only briefly, revealing the subtle vulnerability of even the most formidable predator. The consequences were immediate and spectacular. Invader fleets lost cohesion, some units collided with debris, and defensive systems within the hub temporarily failed. The coalition seized the opportunity, delivering concentrated strikes that damaged structural cores, reduced mobility of key units, and opened new avenues for infiltration. Even with heavy losses, the operation proved that ingenuity, collaboration, and unpredictability could challenge the invaders on their home territory. Humanity's tactics, melding intuition, improvisation, and ethical decision-making, had become a force multiplier, inspiring allies and reshaping the strategic landscape of the Silent Stars, yet victory remained incomplete. The invaders, adaptive and relentless, began recalibrating, restoring coordination, and deploying advanced countermeasures. Coalition commanders recognized that the battle for the Silent Stars was far from over. Each victory carried a cost, but also invaluable knowledge: how to exploit weaknesses in hive coordination, how to combine environmental hazards with tactical unpredictability, and how to integrate human ingenuity into fleet-wide operations. The Silent Stars had become both battlefield and classroom, where the galaxy learned not only to fight, but to think, improvise, and endure. By the end of this stage, a new balance had emerged. The coalition had gained ground, proving that the invaders were not invincible. Humanity's leadership and strategic insight had transformed the nature of the conflict, teaching fleets across species to adapt in real time, to embrace creativity, and to coordinate with unprecedented unity. The Silent Stars were no longer merely a deadly domain, they were a proving ground. Where the galaxy's survival depended on intellect, courage, and the ability to confront the unknown with daring and collaboration, even as the invaders regrouped, the coalition had proven something fundamental: strategy, adaptability, and creativity could challenge even the most ancient and intelligent predators. Humanity's influence, through tactics, experimentation, and unorthodox thinking, had shifted the balance, giving the galaxy hope in the midst of overwhelming darkness. The stage was set for the next decisive encounters, where fleets would push further into the Silent Stars, testing every limit of ingenuity, endurance, and courage. The Silent Stars had become a battlefield unlike any the galaxy had ever known. Entire fleets moved with the precision of a living organism, yet each command carried the weight of creativity, intuition, and human-inspired improvisation. The invaders, adaptive and relentless, had brought the galaxy to the brink of despair, but humanity and the coalition had learned, evolved, and adapted. Now, the final confrontation was at hand. The central invader hive, the heart of their network and intelligence, lay within a massive nebula, its organic mechanical tendrils weaving between collapsing stars and gravitational anomalies. The coalition's fleet, composed of hundreds of vessels from multiple civilizations, approached in stealth, guided by human strategy and intuition. Cloaked ships darted silently among asteroid belts, drones emitted deceptive energy signals, and AI-assisted strike teams analyzed the hive's every motion in real time. The invaders, sensing the approach, began to deploy forces, yet even their adaptive intelligence struggled against the deliberate unpredictability of coalition tactics. The first wave of engagement erupted like a cosmic storm. Energy pulses illuminated the nebula, streaking past colossal invader vessels as cloaked fleets struck from unexpected angles. Decoys drew fire away from critical strike teams, who maneuvered into the hive's outer defenses. Human-engineered destabilizers penetrated organic mechanical nodes, disrupting communication networks and causing the invaders' hive mind to falter. For the first time, the coalition could exploit the enemy's vulnerabilities on a massive scale, turning the tide of the war in the silent stars. Inside the hive, strike teams faced near-impossible challenges. Corridors shifted organically, defensive units adapted instantly, and environmental hazards, including energy vortexes and collapsing gravity wells, threatened every maneuver. Yet human ingenuity guided the operations. Pilots and engineers improvised continuously, combining intuition with AI predictions to navigate the deadly labyrinth. Biologists and engineers worked together, exploiting weaknesses in the invaders' organic systems, creating temporary shutdowns and opening passages that had been inaccessible for millennia. Every step forward was a testament to creativity, courage, and resilience. The battle spread outward as fleets engaged in coordinated maneuvers designed to fragment invader cohesion. Adaptive shields absorbed energy strikes and redirected them strategically, forcing invader units into traps laid across gravitational fields and debris clusters. Coalition commanders executed feints and misdirections, causing invaders to miscalculate and collide with one another, further disrupting their network. Humanity's strategies, once experimental, had become essential. Unpredictability, improvisation, and multi-layered coordination had proven capable of countering even the most intelligent predator the galaxy had encountered. As the final stage of the offensive unfolded, critical nodes within the hive were destroyed, destabilizing the central network. Invader fleets faltered, their once perfect coordination breaking into isolated pockets. Coalition forces capitalized immediately, striking with precision, overwhelming the remaining defenses, and systematically dismantling the hive's command structures. Energy surges lit the nebula in a breathtaking display of cosmic chaos, marking the downfall of a species that had lurked in the silent stars for millennia. With the hive destroyed, the silent stars began to fall silent once more, but this time in triumph. The invaders' adaptive intelligence, formidable and terrifying, had been confronted, challenged, and ultimately defeated through unity, creativity, and human-inspired strategy. Entire civilizations celebrated victories not just of firepower, but of ingenuity, collaboration, and the courage to confront the unknown. Humanity's influence, embedded in tactics, improvisation, and strategic insight, had been pivotal in guiding the galaxy through its darkest hour. In the aftermath, fleets patrolled the silent stars, now a region of remembrance and vigilance. Colonies rebuilt, scientific exploration resumed, and alien civilizations integrated lessons learned into permanent doctrine. Humanity, though physically distant, had left an enduring mark. Fleets operated with adaptive strategies. AI systems incorporated unpredictability as a tactical advantage, and ethical frameworks inspired by human reasoning guided cooperation across species. The galaxy had not only survived, it had evolved. The silent stars, once a symbol of fear and desolation, now stood as a testament to resilience, ingenuity, and unity. Humanity's legacy, through strategy, improvisation, and courage, had transformed a hunting ground into a proving ground, shaping civilizations, fleets, and minds across light years. Even in extinction, the human influence endured, ensuring that the galaxy would never forget the lessons of creativity, adaptation, and the indomitable spirit of a species that refused to be silent. The invaders were vanquished, the silent stars had been tamed, and the galaxy emerged stronger, wiser, and more united than ever. Humanity's name echoed through interstellar space, a symbol of strategy, perseverance, and hope, a reminder that even against the most intelligent and relentless threat, intellect, courage, and collaboration could triumph, and that the legacy of a species could endure far beyond its physical existence. The War of the Silent Stars had ended, and with it, a new era of interstellar civilization began. One guided by the lessons, strategies, and spirit of humanity, shining as brightly as any star in the galaxy.